Hello there, folks, and welcome to another glorious episode of Through My Eyes. Every single one of these brought to you by coffee. Coffee. Honey almond today. We are going to be talking about, does the sanctity of life include abortion? I tried to get the video of this pastor turned atheist that was talking about this, and somehow it got lost within the myriad of saved reels that I have on Facebook. So we're just gonna go with this. I'll talk about this atheist pastor, but I won't have any video of him. And if you do just happen to see the video, so be it. The fact that people are taking advice from these pastors turned atheists, people who once believed in God and followed the rules of God and taught people about God, now suddenly are atheists and don't believe in God. They are talking. This one guy was talking about the sanctity of life, and it's crazy to me. But he did bring up a point with the fact that, with the sanctity of life in the Bible, does abortion count? And this guy brought up Psalms and Jeremiah and Matthew, and he said that they didn't prove that God was against abortion, or that the sanctity of life in the Bible covers abortion. So let's look at the verses that he was talking about. The first verse he was talking about was Psalms 139, verses 13 through 16. If you have your Bible with you, you read along. For thou didst form my inward parts. Thou didst weave me in my mother's womb. I will give thanks to thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are thy works, and my soul knows it very well. My frame was not hidden from thee when I was made in secret and skillfully wrought in the depths of the earth. Thine eyes have seen my unformed substance, and in thy book they were all written, the days that were ordained for me, when as yet there was not one of them. That's some powerful stuff, let me tell you. That right there is some powerful stuff. But these pastors think that these words are just flowery poetry to God from David thanking him for being created. Are we all not seen as special in God's eyes? Are we all not wonderfully made? Let's go back to the beginning of the Bible and check out Genesis chapter 1, verses 26 and 27 to answer that question. Then God said, let us make man in our image, according to our likeness, and let them rule over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the sky, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth. And God created man in his own image. In the image of God he created him. Male and female he created them. But according to the pastor atheists, God only cared about David and the prophets. Let's see what the prophet Jeremiah said. In Jeremiah 1:5, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you, and before you were born, I consecrated you. I have appointed you a prophet to nations. Jeremiah was talking about himself. David was thanking God himself. But it goes right back to Genesis and the creation of man. Genesis 9:6. Whoever sheds man's blood, by man his blood shall be shed. For the image of God he made man. I mean, it's pretty clear that humans are precious to God because he created us. Jeremiah and David were just showing their appreciation to the Creator. God even made laws against killing his people. In Exodus 20:13, thou shalt not murder. Now, of course, anti-pastor atheist says there's laws in Exodus against hitting a woman and causing a miscarriage, but nothing to do with the baby. Okay, well then, let's look into Exodus and see what it says. Exodus 21, 22 to 25. And if men struggle with each other and strike a woman with child so that she has a miscarriage, yet there is no further injury, he shall surely be fined as the woman's husband may demand of him, and he shall pay as the judges decide. But if there is any further injury, then you shall appoint as a penalty life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot, burn for burn, wound for wound, bruise for bruise. That does seem a little steep by today's standards. I mean, we're not exactly gouging each other's eyes out and chopping each other's foots off or causing harm to another person because they caused harm to our family member or whatnot. But the sanctity of life is still shown to be upheld in the Bible. The person who caused the miscarriage, which is a miscarriage is considered a spontaneous abortion, by the way, if you want to look it up. By striking the woman, he's still fined. So whether it's a fine for striking a woman or causing a spontaneous abortion, the sanctity of life is still there. The man is still being punished for what he did to the woman and child. There's another story that people talk about. And I'm going to talk about a different story. A lot of people say in Mark 5 about the bleeding woman, the hemorrhaging woman, it's to account for abortion and whatnot. But the story doesn't actually say that she was hemorrhaging from having an abortion or a miscarriage or was pregnant. It just says that she was bleeding or hemorrhaging badly, and she touched Jesus's robe and was healed. So that's more of a sign of a miracle than the sanctity of life when it comes to an abortion. So I looked a little bit deeper into Mark, and I found Mark 5, chapter 5, verses 35 to 43, kind of fits the whole sanctity of life, abortion, and children thing better. But here, let's read. While he was still speaking, they came from the house of the synagogue officials, saying, "Your daughter has died. Why trouble the teacher any more?" But Jesus, overhearing what was being spoken, said to the synagogue official, "Do not be afraid any longer, only believe." And he allowed no one to follow him, except Peter and James and John, the brother of James. And they came to the house of the synagogue official, and he beheld the commotion, and people loudly weeping and wailing. And entering in, he said to them, "Why make a commotion and weep? The child has not died, but is asleep." And they were laughing at him. But putting them all out, he took along the child's father and mother and his own companions, and entered the room where the child was. And taking the child by the hand, he said to her, "Talitha kum," which translated means, "Little girl, I say to you, arise." And immediately the girl got up and began to walk, for she was 12 years old. And immediately they were completely astounded, and he gave them strict orders that no one should know about this, and he said that something should be given her to eat. You can perceive this story in a bunch of different ways. But Jesus here took the time to go and heal the daughter of a church official who was 12 years old. Now, if God didn't think a child's life was precious enough to save, why would the Son of God take the time to resurrect her? Granted, when you read this story, there's kind of different things to look at it. I mean, was the child actually sick and just needed, and Jesus healed her? Or was it she just didn't want to get up out of bed, wasn't listening to Mama and Dada, and then when God came in, she was like, "Oh, I gotta get up." Because children do that. No matter how you look at it, Jesus still took the time to go and take care of a child. Sanctity of life reaches all of God's children. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you believe or if you don't believe. The sanctity of life covers everybody, from the womb to the grave. 1 Corinthians 3 16 through 17. Do you not know that you are a temple of God, and that the Spirit of God dwells within you? If any man destroys the temple, God will destroy him. For the temple of God is holy, and that is what you are. Friends, brothers and sisters, viewers watching this video, there you have in the Bible where the sanctity of life, regardless of where you are in life, the sanctity of life holds everything from the womb to the grave. Like I said, I would say it is quite unbiblical to abort a child, because as it states in Exodus, thou shalt not murder. And whether you want to mince words with me or not, I don't care. Abortion is murder. You are killing a life that is growing inside of you. That is what females are for. If you take the time to study biology, actual scientific human biology, you would know this. I hope you learned something today. Every single one of these is just to educate, inform, and lead you upon the path of righteousness. If you don't choose that path, there's nothing I can do. But anyway, I hope everybody has a good week. Stay tuned for more stuff. Peace, love, God bless. See you later.